You are going to have a lot of fun with 5-card stun. I've been doing, that's a nice little, actually little rhyme off the top there. A lot of fun, 5-card stun. Hey Jay, nicely done. Nice, nice. You're going to have fun with this effect. You know, it's one of these, it's sort of like shooting fish in a barrel with lay people, because not only are you revealing cards, either one card in a funny way with a build, or 5 cards with a nice build, but this card just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And, you know, if you do it right in people's faces and do it a little tongue-in-cheek or do it very dramatic, however, whatever suits your style, you're going to find you get nice reactions with this, really strong reactions. My advice to you right off the top is, you know, like any paper gimmick, anything made from cardboard, whether it's a card case or whether it's a special playing card that has a, you know, it's a double-sided card, or some sort of a, especially machine, not machine, but design playing card, anything, any gimmick made from paper is going to obviously have wear and tear on it in a way that a shell coin is not going to. So my advice to you to get the most out of these gimmicks is to take one of the cards. It's a practice card. Practice the switches and practice the changes with one of the cards, and have one of the other cards supplied supplied to you. Have that as your performance one. So one's the practice that you get to use and really wear and tear and really, you know, that's the one you'll learn on. The other ones you'll perform on. So that's my advice to you to get the most from these gimmicks. Now, let's start by preparing. Okay, take the 10, and the key here is to really take your time and make sure each of the folds is really nice and clean, okay? I'm going to fold the 10 in half, okay? Then fold it with the 6 of spades in. Okay, we're going to fold it with the 6 of spades in. Fold that strong across there like that. Then finally we're going to fold it with the 5 of diamonds on the inside, okay? And again, really press that down. Take some time. If I were you, once you get this pressed down, take it, stack a few big heavy books on top, leave it overnight. That way it gets a nice, firm, comfortable crease. Because if the creases are not really clean, not only when you hold the packet will it swell more, will the cards buckle a bit more, but on top of that, I think you'll find the folds have too much wear and tear as you kind of adjust them. Okay, so make sure it's nice, clean fold all around. Now, as for the change, we're going to start with doing what I call the twirl change, but it's actually called Marlowe's in lieu of the push through the fist move. Basically a variation on that. It's usually just done with 2 cards, but I came years ago, I realized you could do it with a small packet of cards as well. Same twirling action, and it looks really good. Now, here's our setup. We've got it all creased. We're going to hold it here, okay, between thumb at the bottom and the middle finger at top, like that. Now, my setup is the open part of the card, okay, is on the bottom and the side. That's important. You're going to find it a lot easier to do the twirl change. Right? You're like this, okay. So I've got the folded end, right there, running to my right. Okay. So in regular speed, it looks like this. It's a nice change. Okay, I mean that looks. Even if you don't get it all the way back, even if you only get it back to that point, you can always adjust your hand, right? Lean in a bit to cheat a bit. But you're here. You're going to go from the 2 to the 4. It looks gorgeous, okay, very magical. Now, what you're doing in slow motion is this. I'm sort of doing with using the tip of this finger, but also is as I shake, I'm going to pull with this, but I'm also going to push with that all the way around. All right, let's do it again. We're here, and we shake, and as we shake, we're going to twirl this. This is why you need to have very clean. You should kind of have a light grip just on the corners of the card. One last time. Okay, so we're here, we shake, and it looks like the 2 just changed to the 4. Beautiful change. Okay, that's the first one. The rest of these changes now can happen at whatever pace suits you. Based on audience reaction, you can go boom, 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 boom. You can go boom, have a bit of comedy, boom, one more line, they think it's done, boom, boom, last 2. Whatever suits your style, your presentation. And it's one of the most powerful things you'll ever learn in magic is the key to strong performance is to not act, but react. Respond to the audience in front of you, whether they're drunk, whether they're kids, whether they're drunk kids. Okay, so I'm going to go from the 2 to the 4. Now, I'm going to come up when I want to do my change. And this is my situation here, okay? All I want to do is come up here, put my left first, second fingers in the fold there, okay? Reaching up, going in, and I'm going to pop that open as it goes from sort of a one position to the other. It's almost like turning, this whole handling you'll find, it's like turning a steering wheel to your right, to your right, to your right, all right? That's basically the action on it. Here, 2. To the 4, I come up here, fingertips go, find purchase inside there. I can even loosen my grip here. When I loosen my grip between these, it sort of automatically starts to open. And then I open. Now the other goal you want is you want the 2 hands, I think, to always end up in a position where they are mirroring each other. So you've got the change there. I come in, and then as I let that go, I turn the hands, larger action, and I open, and my hands freeze. And I'm also going to push in with my thumbs so the card bends a little bit in a quiet little V shape back towards me. That hides my edges. It hides my folds. It's just a boom like that. And I can show that. And as long as the bottom's tilted towards me and the top's sort of tilted back, there's very little, and my hands are covering the sides, there's very little to see. So that's change number 2 into the big 5. I repeat exact same action. I reach down here with my fingers, revolve everything, pop it open again, and I get number 3. Okay? Exact same. Now, the last one I've done a few different ways. Sometimes I'll do the same thing where I grab and I push. If you push up with your fingers and pull down with your thumb, it opens it. It opens it right there. And what that means is I can do this, gain purchase, and now I'm going to basically come in on the side here with my fingers and pop that up. I don't turn so much. This last one, there's a little, because you don't want to go from this to this, okay? So you go from here, and I guess it's a half turn maybe. I'm here, I've just made it change once. Now I come in, I'm doing my push to separate the 2. This comes in here, and then I pop that open. But now, that's often the way I do it. Okay, boom. But I've also sometimes gone from here, and all I'll do is give it a shake down. I'll push, okay? And then sort of while focus is up, on the offbeat, I've got the third, or the 4th card, I guess, at that point, boom. On the offbeat, I shake the card down, down. And as it goes down, it opens up, and then I can come back up. So it looks kind of like I've taken this large jumbo 6, given it a shake down here, and then come back up like that, okay? I've even thrown it in the air, but the last thing you want to do, I mean, you don't want to throw it in the air and have it kind of flash this. I don't think, personally, I present this as a bit of tongue-in-cheek, okay? I mean, I'm not so concerned with this looking like, at the end of it, oh my God, and you can examine the jumbo card too. I mean, that's a different kind of mentality. So it's just boom like that, and you're done. So that's the series of changes. Definitely it'll require a little bit of practice, but not much. Particularly because you're not trying to make it, it's more about the surprise and the comedy and the fact that you're even revealing cards that people selected. How do you do all that? Let alone trying to get this down so it looks like, don't get caught up thinking it's got to look like some sort of stand-up manipulation act that's going to win FISM. It's got to look perfect and that kind of thing. It doesn't, okay? It's a different kind of feel to it. Boom, you got like that. And yeah, that's about as startling and as visual a series of appearing cards as you can imagine. Now, the 2 forces I tend to use the most with this effect are riffle force or the Vernon substitute transfer. In either case, I've got my 5 cards, the 5, the 10, the 4, the 2, and the 6, and I don't care what order, frankly. If 5 people, I'm going to force them. I don't care what order it's going to be, okay? But all I need to know is I've got my 5 cards on top, all right? Now, if I'm going to do a riffle force, of course, all I have to do is I'm going to have you go through actually, rather than having you touch a card, let's just do this. I'm going to go through the cards, have you say stop anytime. And so all I've done is I've cut the pack, got a pinky break there, right? Spread out these for a little bit, then bring them back, keeping the break the whole time. Then I come in like this and just say stop. They say stop like this. And then I literally just thumb out onto the table or onto the bar or directly into people's hands 5 cards. Boom, 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 boom. And these, of course, because I cut the pack and kept the break, they're my 5 force cards. Okay, so that's the riffle force. Very simple. Now, if I'm going to use the Vernon substitute transfer, it's got a different feel to it. In that case, I've got the cards at the bottom of the pack. And there, I spread through. Someone touches a card. I spread through. Someone touches a card. Spread, someone touches, spread, someone touches, and finally someone touches a card, okay? And like that. So there I've just had 5 cards. And I say, now remember, you could have touched any card in the pack. And as I spread them out and say you could have touched any card, I spread out the bottom cards, cite my bottom 5 cards, okay? And as I close it up, I get a break between the bottom 5 cards. So I've got a break right there. Now to do the switch, and it's such a pretty switch, is I just kick these all to one side. I come over, kick these all to one side with my first finger and pinky, basically. Then I come over and I grab like this, and my right thumb is going to take the break. Okay? So even, it looks like these are just sticking up, but I actually maintain the break with my right thumb. So I'm going to write them, and then as I'm going to strip these out, what I do, it looks like I just stripped them out, but the bottom cards come along for the ride, okay? They come along for the ride. I strip these out, then come back and square up the pack here like this, and my switch is done. I've got my 5 force cards. All right. In performance speed, it looks like this. Touch a card. Would you touch a card? Go ahead. You touch a card. Oh, well, I'll tell you what. Let's have a whole bunch of cards touch. What do you, so we got five playing cards touched. I think you'd agree you could have touched any of the any cards you wanted. These are the 5 cards you're going to use, and so I've done my switch. All right. So whether you're using the Vernon substitute transfer or the riffle force, either way, that's it's certainly some very straightforward handling and a great way to force cards. As for how I ring in or introduce the folded packet into the proceedings so I can then set up to reveal the cards or the one card, and we'll talk about that in a moment, the difference between the drama and the comedy. There's a few different ways to do that. First up, I designed this so that what you can actually do is remove about a quarter of the pack. So you remove about a quarter of the pack, okay? And you can even have your force cards on top of the deck, all right? And as long as you hold the deck sort of downward, okay, like this, at this angle, and cover the front edge, no one's going to notice the fact you've already got the folded packet, the entire gimmick on the bottom of the deck. So now what I can do, okay, there's a few different ways I can do this, of course. I can either do a slip cut action, where basically I grab about a bunch of cards from underneath, okay, pull them off to the side, or I can even cut the pack here. And you can keep it all folded down there. Just say, and my fingers are covering the front edge. Just say stop whenever you want. They say stop, and I cut there. And I've cut to my force, and I've got my packet at the bottom. Okay? So what I'm saying here is that you can actually force your cards with a riffle force, for example. You can force them to do the whole thing with this already on the bottom of the packet. Okay? Now, if you don't want to have that underneath, it feels a little uncomfortable, then you're going to have to ring it in. And there's a few different ways to do that. One is this, of course, this is a great thing to comp. Okay, it's like having a packet of cards together where they all stay stuck together. You can cop this in, either from your card case or from your jacket pocket, say. Gambler's cop, this is sort of held here, and it's a little lower. It's about there like that. Now, gambler's cop was typically used because you can actually hold the pack here like this. Okay, from the front, you can hold the pack like that. They see nothing, and it's actually at the back end here extended. So what you can do is you can have the cards forced, okay, have them put back in the pack, and then maybe get in the card case, whatever, cop this in, okay? And at that point, you're here like that, like this, okay? So you can cop it in when you want. However I ring it in, whether the folded card's there at the start or I use gambler's cop to ring it in, all you're going to do is double cut the gimmick from the bottom to the top. All right? Looks like this. So I'm here. I'm simply going to kick off some cards here, okay? So I've got my break about the gimmick. I'm going to double undercut, kick off some cards, leave the gimmick there, and then literally just cut the cards back like this. And as I cut the cards, I'm going to raise my hands from a palm down situation to a palm up situation. Everything looks copacetic, looks like nothing, but now I've got the gimmick on top of the deck. And here's where I'm going to go. All I do, it's a sham, is I riffle the cards. I'm going to try to cut to one of your cards. And as I riffle the cards like this, I riffle down, and then I just lift off the gimmick. Now, it looks from the side, and it looks from the front and the bottom, the top, everything but from behind you, like you just cut off a bunch of cards, make a small packet of cards, okay? And so you go boom, and you get someone's card, but notice I'm now exactly where I want to be, okay? I'm exactly in my change position. I'm ready to go. So it's just a matter of ringing this in to the packet, right, like that. And now, if you really even want to be even bolder, I mean, there's other ways you can ring it in things, but I think the best way, frankly, like I said, is either cop it in or have it there from the beginning. Double, after you've done your forces, double undercut it to the top of the deck, cut like this and say boom, and now you're ready to go. You just cut to the first card with 2 hearts, somebody's card, and then you're ready to go into it from there. 5 card stun is a very simple idea and very visually driven. It's so dramatic, visually driven, and like most of the stuff I use for real people in the real world, it's simple. It's a simple thing, very flexible and adaptable to your style. Which brings up the point, the presentations. As I've mentioned, the 2 presentations I use the most is one is comedy and one is sort of a serious one. However, I probably use the comedy one much more because with the comedy one, I'm only going to force 1 card. Okay, I'm going to force my final card, of course. I'm going to force my 10 of diamonds, all right? And then I'm going to ring in the packet. And when I ring in the packet and do that cutting, just as I showed you that, I'm going to try to cut to your card thing. And did I get to your card? I'm going to try to cut your card. And you just lift it right off the deck. You go, there, right? 2 of hearts. Was it? Wasn't the 2 of hearts. Okay, well, how about the, maybe the 4? Was it the 4 clubs? And now they know you're into a joke, but this magical joke, in a sense, comedy. 4 club, they go, no, it wasn't. You go, no. Well, how about maybe the five of diamonds? And so now you have this nice combination. Each beat is an extra gag, but it's also an extra piece of magic because they've ideally examined your cards and shuffled your cards up to this point. So why is this happening, right? So wasn't that? Oh, okay, well maybe I should try a mind reading trick or maybe a coin trick or maybe that. And so you get this sense that you're failed, that you're always about to move on to something else. You're going to do something else, and it's not that. Now I have them announce it. What was your card? The 10 of diamonds. I go, so it wasn't the 2, it wasn't the 4, it wasn't the 5, not even the 6. Okay, well, okay, the 10. And this is where I might shake it, or I might either do the pop open 10. Okay, a 10, why didn't you say so? You know? Or they say the 10 of diamonds, you know, it's like this, I missed it. I go, 10 of diamonds. Oh, I said, you know, the 10 of diamonds has always been the hardest card for me to find. I apologize. Let me try to do something that's involving some mind reading, and I go on from there. So the thing about that I like is you don't get caught up trying to be too Mr. Magic, Mr. Impossible. There's a tongue-in-cheek, but you still have visual magic. The serious way, of course, is to force all 5 cards. And like I said, cut to 1. There's the second one. There's the third one. There's the fourth one. And what was yours? The 10. Okay, the 10. There's the last one. And again, you can either try to cover the action with a large wave, or as I mentioned before, you can go from the 6 here to, you can go from the 6 here, like this, to shaking it down, like that, and then coming up, something casual. I like the flexibility of this, and I think you will too. I think it's one of these things that you try it a few different ways. I encourage you, try the 5 cards, try the 1 card, try it in a few different contexts until you find your own way to really make this feel right for you. And then at that point, you'll be able to, ideally, not only, like amaze people, but even better, entertain them.